So in this little series where I try to answer your questions or your comments that you left, I would say, rather massively, not in number, but in quality, I would say, I'll try to answer those and to give you my thoughts as well as I can. Again, this will be the most boring video series ever produced on YouTube, but it doesn't matter. This is an important text, however, written not in a very in the clearest way we would like. There are some inconsistencies, but it's in the previous videos when I replied to Olaf, I think I made the case for it to be only interpreted or read with the fewest inconsistencies from whole beat perspective. But anyways, the point of this series is obviously to come to the true understanding of it. And if I can, just clarify some things or learn one thing or two things from you, that's fine. And then we have spent our time well. Just used the word time. I wonder in which context. Time signature, clock time, tempo. I'm joking. This was completely unprepared, but it's actually correct. Terminology is important, and some terms, words, just have double meanings, like beat. I was reading here, actually, Herman Musico. I intended to comment or to answer also that question in the previous video, but there was already 30 minutes. This one will be shorter. No, not a huge introduction, but he asks, which lead me to the question. So in agreement or in follow-up on Olaf's remark, which leads me to the question, how, according to Wim, would Maelzel have phrased it if he indeed meant single beat in our modern understanding and not whole beat? I can't see more clear than how it's phrased here. Already here, from a point of terminology, why would we say single beat today if there was no whole beat at all? You see? Terminology is like, even today we feel the need to clarify our point with beat, but with beat it's only single beat. Yeah, okay. But it's an interesting question. If the author of this text, again, we don't know if it's Maelzel, it's probably even not. It's republished in the 2021 article, I think, in the Musical Quarterly magazine. Journal and magazine, forgot the right title. There is a video even I made on the 1820 article there. It's super interesting. Then he would have said, listen, in 4/4 time, the rod should whenever possible beat every quartet. Okay, imagine that a single beat. But then here in the following paragraph, this being premised, suppose a composer desires to time a movement in 4/4 time, to time a movement in 4/4 time. 2 times time. 2 times time. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. So we come back to this, guys. I'll come back to that because some people say like time is obviously time signature because he's talking at the beginning of the text of 4/4 time. I see that, but it's not a valid point. I'm using it 3 times time. I mean, it's getting crazy, right? The context makes it clear, but there it's important that you take a perspective. What does it mean when the term would have this connotation? What would the text say if the term has this connotation? And then you see that terms like beat, especially beat, is used in 2 ways, up and down. I showed you last time, I don't know if it's still open, here, where this English 1829 encyclopedia, I mean, it's just one, huh? And what it's like, it's like the Grove Dictionary of that time. Beating time here, beating time. It can be time signature, but how do you beat the time signature? 4/4 or 3/4? Do you beat 3/4 unequal or equal? Or it can mean beating the tempo. How do you beat time? And here it says each motion, here it is, each motion down and up is called a time or measure. So time measure. At the end of this text, we've seen that there is time. So time can be the motion up and down, and then the time. I mean, yeah, you see, it's not black and white, but it's also not so difficult. You just have to allow yourself to see both versions. So, but again, back to Herman's question. So then he should have said here, if this is correct, that in 4/4 time, every quartet equals one beat, and beat has only one meaning, or when beat has two meanings, he had to clarify here in the following paragraph and says that each beat, not each beat falls in with degree of quickness, but each tick falls in with the degree of quickness desired for one minim, because both are not going together. Because here says this being premised, which is allegros are marked by minims, and the metronome, whenever it's possible, the rod beats every quartet. Then you would have an inconsistency, by the way. I showed you that in Olof's answer. There is no way from a single beat perspective you can use this text, because you have to assume that the author was not really knowing what he was writing. You cannot have a metronome ticking, which every tick aligns with the quarter note and at the same time with the minims, half notes. It's not possible. So it's one of the two. It's only one reading, one perspective from which this makes sense, and that's the whole beat perspective. You see? So that is, first of all, he should be clarify. Each tick falls in with the degree of quickness desired for one minim. Then it was clear. And he should have left out this being premised, because this leads to this sentence, and both don't agree with each other. They don't match. You see? And then you could say like, this is maybe wrong, okay. But then still, your question was how to undeniably indicate single beat. Then it should be clear here about the term beat. And then at the end, he made another mistake. So each single beat or tick forms, here does it, huh? Each single beat or tick. So it's important here for the author that you as a reader interprets or reads beat by tick. Even only thinking that he's doing it there, that he's explaining the term beat with ticks, means that in all the other places it can have both meanings. And it's not so hard to see which. You can say like, yeah, but that's just speculation. No, you have to. It's like almost being Sherlock Holmes. You have to deduct, is that correct in English? What was possibly the intention of the author in this case? Had he in mind whole beat, then beat can mean this and this. Had he in mind single beat, then read it from that perspective. So, but if you come then here, it's single beat or tick, why would he need to clarify that if beat always means tick? But again, forms a part of the intended time, that would be wrong. He should have said like, each tick aligns or represents or equals part of the intended time. And then time, again, we come back to that in other questions. Time here is not time signature. Time here is tempo. There is no other explanation. Again, digressing now on the question, but this is the most important part of the entire series. If time was indeed bar, measure, then he made a mistake, because he said every tick forms part of the bar. And every tick, single beat, aligns with the note value in the metronome mark. But that's not possible, because he says prestos are indicated by whole bars. Like scherzi are indicated often, the faster ones, with whole bars. 2/4 time signatures often indicated with minims, whole bars. But each tick forms a part of that in every case. And no, not in the case of presto, right? So again, when you only read it from this is an excellent question. So many mistakes, one on top of the other, when you would assume that he meant single beat, then he did really, really, really a bad job. From a whole beat perspective, it's fine, huh? Each part, whole measure, whole bar, prestos, no problem. Each tick is just half of that. So, I planned 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes. With Olof's video, I planned 8 minutes, and it was 30 minutes, so I'm getting better at it. shorter, concise, time management. That's what we need for these videos. But all kidding and all joking apart, it's important, guys. It's important. And sometimes diving in these texts, one thought leads to the other. It's just the aim, the goal of these videos is just to go in this text as deep as we can, and also to test me. Can I answer all of your comments? Up to now, I would say yes. If that's not correct according to you, I give the same ending, closing here as in Olaf's video. There is an empty virginal comment box section waiting for you. And I'll go over those as well. But promise me one thing, and it's an exercise. Whenever you do that, whenever we go deeper in the text again in these videos, I would very much like to read that you really gave my perspective, that you phrased, that you gave a correct summary of what my perspective, my explanation is. That's a great way to start a conversation. You cannot keep skipping the points I make and come back to the original ones that I just, in my opinion, corrected. You have to build from that correction, give the summary of that so that I know that you understand what I'm saying. And from there, you can make another point, build upon that correction of my argument. And that's how we can develop together this understanding and this research on this text. Okay? Thanks for watching, guys. See you probably soon again. Bye.